Good morning and welcome to On the Beat. Happy New Year, everyone. This is 2021, so we welcome 2021 with cheers and wonderful hopes. So my name is Kim Mastrofino, and with me today is Martin Chan and Joe Hildreth. But let's check in with the Beat team today. It's so good to see you back. We took a couple weeks off in December, and we're back and running and back in the swing of things. So Martin, I'm going to start with you. How's it going?
Doing good. It's awesome day today. It's sunny. Let's say.
It's
cold.
It is cold. It's a perfect January day. Do you think?
I think so. Yeah, it's January.
Yeah. So, but thank God the sun is shining. So that's all good. So.
Oh yeah.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good and great to be here.
It's so good to see both of you. Like I said, we took a couple weeks off and we're rearing to go now, so we're pretty excited. We have a great show today. We have a wonderful guest. First, I want to give a shout out to Ben Barber. He's producing our broadcast today. Couldn't do it without him. So kudos to Ben. And we say Happy New Year to him too as well. So, but our guest today is Amy Grzybowski. She is the executive director for the Westerly Education Center. So we were so lucky to have her because she's a very busy lady. So please welcome Amy.
Hi there.
Hey.
Hey, Amy.
Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Well, we are so looking forward to hearing all about what you're involved in. I hear you're very busy, so you do a lot for our town, and we're excited to have you, and really thankful that you are spending time on our show. So anyway, so the format's as usual. Joe and Martin will be conducting the interview questions, and so Joe, you do have the first question. So you ready to go?
Yes.
All right.
Welcome, Amy. For those new to the broadcast, can you tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. I currently have a few titles. I am the executive director of the Westerly Education Center, which I started that position in August of 2016 prior to the building opening, and I've been there ever since. And for the community, for those that didn't know, I previously had worked for the town and am the emergency management director, which I've held that position since 2013. I also recently have stepped into the role as the acting executive director of the Governor's Workforce Board, just to help fill in for a few months. So that one's brand new to me. I just started and I'm trying to get my feet wet in that position.
Wow, that's great.
You're very involved, and you really are making a difference, and especially during COVID. So we thank you for that. So Martin, would you like to take the next question?
Yes. Can you tell us about your role as executive director for the Westerly Education Center and the plans to get more people back to work?
Of course. I have the fun job of linking employers with higher education partners to create our workforce training programs that teach students or employees the competencies that the employers are looking for. It isn't anymore about training and praying. So many years ago, we would spend our dollars statewide into just creating programs that for unemployed and underemployed individuals and putting those people into those training programs. And we weren't as worried about the outcome. Now we are. We are about creating programs that work. So the Westerly Education Center has programs and courses from the Community College, University of Rhode Island College, and the Rhode Island School of Design. We have been fortunate to serve over 9,000 people in 4 years. We've opened a Pearson test site, which allows people, if you were trying to test for your GED or get a test for a job that you're in, we opened it during COVID, and we've already delivered 875 exams.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's really interesting. That's great.
Joe, you got the next one?
Can you describe the job industry now and the need for job training? Can you tell us more about the job training programs you offer at the Westerly Education Center?
I can. So we all know that the unemployment rate has increased during the pandemic. There are so many people that are now unemployed and will be looking for their next opportunity. and need their next opportunity as fast as possible. The training programs at the Education Center can help people to do that, whether it is through our pipeline training programs, Electric Boat. We train in sheet metal, electrical, or pipe fitting, or our process technology program, teacher assistant, customer service, or some of the many college courses that we offer. One that I'd love to talk about is certainly our process technology course, because we're currently recruiting for that. If there's anyone listening that is looking for their next opportunity. Alexa off. Sorry about that.
That's interesting.
So this particular training program is across 5 different industries. It's pharmaceutical, textiles, plastics, cancer research, and brewing. You'll learn the competencies for an entry-level position in these fields. The course itself is 10 weeks, 30 hours a week, but it's free. And we work real hard to those that join the program to then help place them into the job. So that is something that I think we're very proud of at the Education Center is, again, not the training and praying. We want to make sure that the training programs you're getting into are going to lead you to a job.
Wow.
That's really important. I think that many times an individual may want to venture into a new career or, a new avenue that they may take along the lines of a job, but they're not quite qualified with all the skills. So are you saying that your training programs hit all areas of that particular job so that they can be can be marketable for the job? And you're saying that you connect to these industries that have openings. So would there have a better chance of landing a job in that particular, industry spot? So it says you're connected to them. So am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, exactly. So not only are the training programs, do we teach you the competencies, but many times we're creating a simulated environment. So specifically to our electric boat programs, it is similar to what you would be in the shipyard. So it is a big area. You're not allowed to use your cell phone during the day. There's certain breaks. You have to follow very specifically what you would normally do in your workday, so that when you get to the shipyard, you're not going to be surprised by it, and you're going to be far more successful in the career because you've been able to do that and have that opportunity.
And are all your training programs free, or is there some charges to some of them?
There are a couple that there are charges to, but for the most part that they are free. Sorry, I have one child home for distance learning, 3 children home for distance learning. So
Right.
Even okay to multitask.
Didn't get the memo that mommy can't be disturbed. So yes, most of them are free. We're very fortunate in Rhode Island to have Real Jobs Rhode Island, which is a sector-based partnership program that it creates, again, these training programs, but they're grant funded so that the unemployed and underemployed individual there's no cost to them and there's no cost to the employer. It then allows them to get right into the job.
That's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Do you find that individuals around our Westerly area take more advantage, obviously because it's in Westerly, but are they placed throughout Rhode Island, not just in the Westerly area? Obviously, industries aren't all here. Are you finding that the majority is that case?
So yes. So the individuals, again, it depends on the training program, I think. So again, the electric boat program, they know they're either going to work at Groton or Quonset, and they have either applied for a job. They've applied for a job at either shipyard prior to starting our program. And they can come from anywhere. We're training people from Foster Gloucester, from folks from Connecticut. It is nice to be on the border between the 2 states because it allows us to service a lot of people. When it comes to process technology, we have employer partners such as Telsh Engineering, that's out of Cranston, Mearthane, also out of Cranston. We have local partners though, US Extruders, who's right in Westerly, who has hired from our program. So really, if you can't or don't have the transportation, there are some local opportunities. But we're also hoping to set you up for success to make sure that there is an employer that is whether on the bus line or otherwise, so you can get to the employer site.
Yeah, it would be nice to have more transportation opportunities in our area. We're kind of isolated down here.
I agree. We were fortunate. One of the conversations we had with RIPTA, unfortunately, we got it going just before COVID. So I'm hoping that we can keep it going as we start to open back up again. But
Mhm.
historically, RIPTA bus was leaving Westerly in the morning 3 times and then coming back. So for those individuals working in Providence or somewhere north, they were able to do that, but it wasn't allowing folks that needed to come down to Westerly if they needed a training program. So now the bus gets turned on at Kennedy Plaza, and
Mhm.
people are able to get on there if they need to. So we're trying to work through that to try to, I mean, obviously we all know that Westerly needs more transportation. And that was one of the reasons why we set up the Pearson test site, because we had Tri-County offering GED services at the building, but the students, in order to take their 4 tests, had to go to Wakefield. And even though Wakefield doesn't seem that far, it is when you don't
Right.
have transportation to get there, and to try to have to go 4 times for 4 different exams. That was a barrier for some people to get their high school diploma.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm glad that, things are improving in that area. We actually run across that, before COVID, our Olean Center, had issues with transportation opportunities. And, so it is a challenge, but I'm glad that things are moving forward in the right direction in that area. So just
Slow
good.
and steady.
Slow and steady. Yeah, that's all you can do. And even during COVID, I mean, things are, we're still trying. So
That's right.
So, Joe, are you next?
Uh,
Or is it you, Martin? It's
I think
Martin.
this is my turn. All
Go for it.
right. Can you tell about the process of enrollment in the training programs?
Yes, it's very simple, actually. We work with Skills for Rhode Island's Future to recruit for many of our programs. It's a nonprofit entity that we have in the state, which is amazing. So they have individual recruiters that work with individuals that go and speak with them or email them, or there's many different ways to start talking to a recruiter. But then you're able to tell them your passions and what's going to drive you and where you think you might succeed. And then they'll work to try to figure out which program might be best for you. If you already know that you want to do the process technology program at the Education Center, you would tell the recruiter that, and then they would help you through the process. It's simple enrollment. You do, in some training programs, you do need to take what's called a Tabe Test. And they do this because they want to see what level that you're testing at, so that you're not put into a program you can't succeed at. So,
Right.
for example, we know
Wow.
you have about an 8th grade equivalency to do well in the process technology course. And so you would take the test. It's not to make you anxious, but it is intended to make sure that you already know some of the basic knowledge that you'll need in order to succeed. And if you aren't, then they'll help link you with the right resources to help get you up to a level that you need so that you can be successful in a program.
Wow. That's
And
great.
then they'll place you in the program, and those same recruiters will then help place you into the job, so that you're working with the same person throughout. What I also love that we do is that we have case managers during the program that are helping address any challenges you might have while you're in the program. Maybe you're having a problem at home, maybe you're having difficulty finding childcare, whatever it might be, those case managers will work with you to help address those challenges before you get to the job. So that, again, it eliminates one more thing that won't make you successful, that will help you to be successful once you get into your dream job.
Wow. That's really good. That's awesome.
Sounds like you covered all bases. And I love the idea that you have support, during the training program, because I think that, there are barriers for some people and challenges in their life, to be able to get where they need to be. And I think having those supports is really important. So, yeah, it sounds like you covered everything.
We're certainly trying, but we know that we're learning and growing. So any ideas, throw them our way.
And on your website, do you list the courses that are being offered for that year? Is that how you go about? Do you do different ones each year?
So it's not necessarily by year, but by what we're recruiting for in the moment. You can certainly find on our website things we've had historically, but usually right on that front page, we'll have like a running ticker of what you might be able to enroll in at the moment. So right now, obviously, during the pandemic, we haven't been doing quite as much. Things are restricted certainly by how many people we can have in the classroom, so that everyone is socially distanced. But we are still actively doing some programming. So hopefully, as we get to the spring, when there's more folks vaccinated, when people are a little bit more comfortable, we'll be able to really ramp back up again and offer far more programming.
Okay. And that's usually all year long, correct?
Yes, we don't run on a typical, I mean, certainly some of our courses are on a semester basis because they're college courses. But if they're workforce programs, like for example, our process tech course is going to start the first week in February. So it could be at any moment that we have programs that we're recruiting for. And if there's a program that you're interested in that you see that we're not offering at the moment, if you just call or send us an email, we put you on a list. So that way, as soon as it's offered, we'll send you an email and alert you that that program is opened up.
That's great. That's great. Wow, you're so organized. It's really, we're lucky to have the Westerly Education Center in our community and, right at our fingertips.
Well, we certainly have a great team that makes it all work behind the scenes. So I couldn't do what I do without the team that we have.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Joe, would you take the next one?
Can you describe your role as Emergency Management Director for the town of Westerly? Can you also tell us what's happening now, especially with COVID-19?
Of course. So I've been the EMA director for Westerly since 2013. I joined the town in 2012, overseeing building planning and zoning. And it was 8 weeks before Sandy. So I dove right in with Superstorm Sandy. I wasn't the emergency management director at the time, but certainly helped the current emergency management director. We worked the response and then the subsequent recovery. And as you know, that was a pretty extreme event for the community. But as an emergency management director, I help the town prepare, plan for, respond, and recover from a disaster. There's a lot that happens during times of, thankfully, when we're not dealing with natural disasters or pandemics. And we work together with our fire chiefs, the ambulance, the public works department, everyone you can think of. You work together ahead of time so that when something is happening, you know the people that you work with and you're ready. So in COVID, in the spring, we focused a lot on food delivery. So we know that many members of our community were having trouble getting food, particularly if they were quarantining or isolating, or if they were elderly and were afraid to go out. And so once a week, we were doing 500 meals a week. And they were coming into the senior center, and we worked with a team of volunteers, and some of our nonprofit partners would come and get some for other communities because we were also helping Richmond, Hopkinton, Charlestown, and they would come pick up their number of some of the 500. But then our volunteers would go deliver out to the community those that signed up because they needed a hot meal, and we would leave them on their doorsteps. And it was certainly a heartwarming experience to be able to be part of that. And I think we did it from April or May until into July.
Wow.
So it was a long program, and we were very fortunate. University of Rhode Island made all the meals and delivered them to us, and then we executed it from there. And that was happening all over the state.
Wow.
Now we're focused with the Rhode Island Department of Health on the vaccine distribution. So I'm sure we've all heard a lot and been watching the news. When's it my turn? How do I get the vaccine? We were fortunate we have what's called a Meds Pod plan. It's a medical distribution plan that the towns have been working on for a long, long time, a decade, more than that, where we know that if we ever had to mass vaccinate or give out mass medications to our community, how do we do that? And we have a written plan to do that, and we practice that plan every year, and we update that plan. And so I think Rhode Island is uniquely positioned in that they have been working hard with the communities to do that. Nice. So over the Christmas break, or between Christmas and New Year's, Westerly worked with 8 communities from Jamestown to Westerly, and we created our site in South Kingstown, and we were able to vaccinate our first responders, police, fire, EMS, home health aides, some of the health services from the campuses, and a couple other groups of individuals that were invited because they're in that current priority group. And collectively, we vaccinated 1,300 people.
Wow.
And most of that is runoff volunteers. So we're very fortunate for our volunteer community, for those that were able to lean in and help us during that time. And we gave out the first shot then, and we do the second shot at the end of the month. And then we stand ready to help the Department of Health when we need to do another one. It was really tremendous to do it with the other communities. And it also made it a little bit easier because you have more volunteers to pull from.
Sure.
We are ready in the community if we need to do it ourselves. And we're hoping that we're continuing to build our volunteer base. So if anyone's listening and you're interested in becoming one of our volunteers, please let me know.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, do you have any idea or a prediction when, obviously the vaccines are kind of dribbling in, you only get so much a week and that sort of thing. Do you have an estimated idea of when everyone can be vaccinated, during the year? I mean, could you predict that, or is that?
I can't. There's a good PowerPoint, if you will, that Department of Health has on their website that I can certainly share with you after if you'd like to share with your viewers.
Sure.
That lays out the anticipated timeline.
Okay.
What's challenging for the state is that they know how much they're supposed to get each week and they plan for that, but it's not always what they do get.
Right.
And then they're also cautious to ensure that what they're distributing, we also need to be able to distribute the second shot. And
Right.
so there's so much that goes into the planning behind the scenes and ensuring that we don't want, obviously they're not wasting a dose. They are very practical and very working real hard to ensure that they are distributing it as effectively as possible.
Sure. I know it's a big job, and we're
It
so
is very
happy.
big.
Yeah, but it's nice to know that it's on the horizon for others as well. And I'm glad people that, first responders and, frontline people are getting vaccinated. I think we're getting there. And I guess, like you said, one step at a time. So sounds like you're really organized in that. I'm sure it must have been a huge challenge, initially with COVID, in doing your job as the emergency management director and, through the education center. Can you talk a little bit more about those challenges and how you've basically tried to overcome them?
I think certainly the biggest challenges is, so Westerly's still, the education center is still open. And we were only shut down during the actual shutdown in the spring. And since then, we have been open in some capacity. Now, obviously, it's far more limited than what we were doing prior to the pandemic. But we want to be there for our employer partners, for our higher ed partners. We know that people need to get to work and that they can't just wait until the pandemic's over. And so we certainly have leaned in to ensure that anything that we can provide that is available, we want to do that. But it's making people feel comfortable. It's very difficult during COVID to make folks feel like it's okay to be in person. Classrooms are safe. There's very little to no transmission that happens in classrooms. If you're socially distanced, wear your mask, follow all the rules. We're obviously very cognizant of all the rules. We have our control plan. We clean the rooms. We have more cleaning now than ever, which is great. So I think that's always been a challenge. Many of our instructors, particularly for the electric boat program, are retirees. That can be a challenge too, because again, you don't want to put people at unnecessary risk. And it's hands-on training, so it's not. Yes, everyone can be socially distant for sure in the training programs, but it's not static in a classroom sometimes. And so just movement makes people nervous. But now we have started up that anyone in a program through the community college, which is our pipeline programs and process technology, we are doing testing once a week at the education center. So folks might feel a little more comfortable knowing that they can get tested once a week.
Nice.
So those are some, I think, of our immediate challenges. We also have a very small staff, and we don't want all of our team there at the same time, just in case somebody has to quarantine or isolate. We can't lose everybody at the same time. So we have worked on our scheduling, and we're open from 6 a.m. to midnight. So it's not as if we're just open from 8 to 4. And so ensuring that we have the staffing to meet the need, particularly of our employer partners. On the emergency management side, the challenges are certainly making sure that we are providing enough information for the community and just being available. I mean, we're not fortunate, but it is a nation. It's a global pandemic, so we're not in it alone. Ensuring that the resources are provided for our community members.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for that information. Martin, would you like to take the next one?
Oh, last one? Yeah. What else would you like others to know?
Well, I guess for those that are listening, if you're an employer partner and you need space for your own training, for a conference rental, or for anything like that, we're here for you. The Education Center is also a conference center, if you will. We are hoping that we will again continue to grow and expand over the coming year, particularly as people feel more safe to do so. And we also know that you need space to be socially distant, and we can do that too. So if you need to just have a meeting with your team that can't be done on Zoom, we have the space available to help you do that. If you have a training need and you're an employer partner, we can help find you the right higher ed partner to create that program. If you are a person that's unemployed or underemployed and looking for your next opportunity, please feel free to reach out to our team, and we'll help get you linked with Skills for Down's Future, or help you into one of our programs that we have. And then on the emergency management side, I'm always looking for volunteers, always looking for folks that can help not only during a pandemic, but if we have a hurricane or any other kind of disaster. So if there's something you're looking to learn more about, please let me know. I think that's my biggest messages.
Can you tell the audience the volunteers that you're looking for right now?
Sure. So when we have to open up our own distribution site in Westerly, I will need individuals that can help greet and check people in. I will need folks that can help route people through, just kind of we call flow control, help them through the line, if you will. We need vaccinators. So if you are an RN, paramedic, have that qualification, you can sign up to be a vaccinator. We always need doctors to volunteers, because we have to have a doctor on site when we're running it. And we also need pharmacists. So really, there's a job for anybody. And if you have the time to even dedicate, usually it's about a 4-hour shift when we do have the pod, and probably in the spring, we'll need more of these. So please come our way.
Wow,
Excellent.
that sounds great.
So sounds as though you do need a lot of help, and I'm glad that you put the word out there. So hopefully people will get there and sign up. We do have a few more minutes, just a couple more minutes. Do you have anything that you would like to ask us?
Tell me about some of the other folks that have been on your show, or what is the coolest thing that you've learned while running your broadcast? Okay,
so I'll answer, but Martin, why don't you put your information out there, and Joe, you can put yours, and then I'll put mine.
Okay. Which one? What kind of guest do you want me to say?
Whatever guest that you remember a lot of the guests. We did 29 guests last year.
Okay. I think Colin Bennett's the other one.
Yeah, Colin Bennett. He's from the Malted Barley.
Yeah.
Yep. And what did you learn? What have you learned doing the broadcast so far?
What I learned that. Let's see. He has 3 restaurants. So that's very interesting.
Yeah,
it is very interesting.
Yeah. So are you saying, have you learned more about the guests that you get introduced to on the show?
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, how about you?
I don't know.
Can you remember one particular guest that you enjoyed the most? I know you enjoyed all of them, but
yeah, they were all great.
They're all great. Can you remember one of them that was on?
Oh boy, I don't know.
Well, we had Ben Barber on, remember?
Yeah.
We had him on twice, and now he's our producer. I think. And what did you learn?
A lot of different things about broadcasting and stuff.
Yeah. I think we had 29 guests on, and that was a lot of community members, business owners in our local community. We had Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee on. We had Terry Sylvester from the Hollies. He came on. We had
that's cool.
Yeah,
cool.
We had Christine Cook. We had, Lisa Kanicki. We had a lot of great, all of them were wonderful, and they all brought something great to each broadcast.
They do.
We learned a lot about what they're going through, their businesses, that maybe there was some things that we didn't even think that we would have known, that we found interesting. And every broadcast has been delightful, fun. And we had the people from the chorus of Westerly on as well. I mean, there was a ton of them, but we did enjoy each and every one. And for me, learning, it's nice to connect to people, and especially during COVID. And so we felt like we were giving back to our community by having these broadcasts. It gave them an opportunity to showcase what they were doing. So that's basically it. But Amy, we do so appreciate your time. We know how busy you are, and we wish you much luck now and in the coming days. And so thank you.
Thank you. It's been great.
Thank you. And we learned a lot more about the Westerly Education Center and, all the current information. So that was helpful. So we will definitely pass that on. We talked to many different people, so it's always nice to get the ins and outs. And so we will continue to promote, so which is good. So
Awesome. Thank you.
thanks to Martin and Joe for being great hosts. You guys did amazing today. And thank you especially to Ben Barber for producing the broadcast. He's great as always. And to our audience who have listened in, thank you so much. And if you happen to have missed it, check our social media pages out later, and you can catch it then. So in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe and healthy. And
Well, that's it for now. We'll see you next time on The Beat.
all right, take care. Thank you.
Bye.